Hey, good night, everybody. It is Debbie, and I'm here it's time for dinner with Debbie. It is Tuesday night. I'm here a little bit later than usual, but sorry for that. I just had a bunch of phone calls and stuff that I had to get through tonight, but I'm really, really excited about the dish I'm bringing you tonight, and I guess I'm going to be eating later tonight as a result, but let me tell you what, it's worth the wait. We're having creamy lemon chicken with spinach and artichokes. So think about your favorite artichoke spinach dip and then add some chicken to it, and then you have a nice meal. And we're actually making it a little bit healthier on top of that. So I got this recipe from, believe it or not, the Martha Stewart Test Kitchen, which actually got me to thinking, the Martha Stewart Test Kitchen, boy, what a great job that would be. I would love to work, even just temporarily in the Martha Stewart Test Kitchen, or maybe be like one of the testers at the Test Kitchen, because other than like Ina Garten, I think Martha Stewart is like my girl. I love her. I've loved her for a long time, even when she went to jail. So in any case, I'm going to get started here. This is a really great recipe to put together on a weeknight. Obviously, I'm starting here. It's like almost 7:15 at night, and I'm going to be eating this by, in a half an hour. So, yeah, it's late, but yeah, it's good, and it comes together quickly. So, I have my list of ingredients here, and of course, this whole recipe will be put in the comments when I post this in my YouTube tomorrow, and then on my various social media platforms. So, I hope you check it out because I think you're really going to like it. Where did my daggone... here we go. It just disappeared for a minute. So we're going to start off, but it calls for a cast iron skillet, but I'm going to be using my non-stick skillet today. Now, I love my cast iron skillet and I use it a lot, but I decided I'm going to try it on the non-stick today. So what I have in here is a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm also using my already thin sliced chicken cutlets so that that I don't have to pound them. You really want them thin so that they cook relatively quickly. So what I'm going to do, I've got the thin sliced cutlets that I've already picked up from, I got them at Wegmans. You can get them wherever. And if you don't have access to the thin sliced, you can always go and pound them yourself, and cut them up. So I have these ready. I just need to rinse my hands from those chicken juices. Yuck. And then I'm going to salt and pepper. Now I could freshly ground this, that's fine, but I just find it's easier to just use the already ground stuff. And I'm going to salt these, and I'm going to start my pan. Oh, hey Mom, how are you? I'm start my pan. I'm going to put this on medium high so that it gets going and melts the butter quickly. So what we're going to do with these little chicken cutlets is that we're going to put them in some flour, and we're just going to dredge them in lightly. You can see here's my flour. We're going to lightly coat them with flour, and then we're going to brown them in this pan. Grab my spoon. So happy fall, y'all. I mean, I can tell it's fall because it's dark already. It's amazing how quickly that happens. Hey, Vicky. So this is melting. So tonight, because this is a creamy chicken dish, I definitely want to have a white wine with it, but I think with the creaminess of it, I think what I want is a Chardonnay or maybe a Viognier. But tonight I'm drinking a Chardonnay, and this one will be available on my YouTube you know, and tell you what I'm drinking, but I think it is, gosh, let me look at it. It's Fossil. It's from Argentina. So believe it or not, this is a Chardonnay from Argentina, from South America. It's actually very lovely. And you don't always think of Argentina for Chardonnay, but Chardonnay is grown, you know, pretty much all over the world. It's such a versatile grape. What I love about Argentina is that with the high altitudes, they're able to do some really interesting things. So I've got my chicken cutlets. They're salt and peppered. I'm going to dredge them. And then I'm going to put them in the hot butter and oil. And these come together so quickly. I love that they're already thin sliced. If you can get thin sliced chicken cutlets already, it just saves so much time. Although there is a lot to be said for pounding the crap out of a chicken, getting your frustrations out. And here we go. So I know some of you have been asking about my pans, and I've really been digging them, if I'm going to be honest with you. I've been testing out different types. I just found out that Williams-Sonoma just has introduced a new line of pans that are ceramic coated, that are part of the green pan collection, that are kind of signed off by Stanley Tucci, who is an actor, but also pretty well known for food, Italian food. I have a green pan myself. I really like it. And I have put on my Christmas list one of the Stanley Tucci green pans. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? Thanks for joining. All right, so I've got my chicken cutlets in there. I'm going to get rid of this stuff, and I'm going to wash my hands real quick. There's nothing worse than like having like all this like gunky chicken juice and flour on your fingers, so you got to get that off. Okie doke. So I have got my chickens going. Let me tell you what it looks like. There we go. And because they're so thin, we only need that for them to be on here for a little bit before we flip them. I'm going to make sure, I'm really trying hard to not forget any steps while I'm making this, because that has happened to me a couple of times now, and it's kind of embarrassing. So, all right, so we've got this going. We've seasoned this chicken with salt and pepper. We've dredged it in the flour. And now we are sauteing them. We want to flip them when they're golden brown. It's about 3 minutes per side. And then I'm going to put them on a plate. So let me see if I can, let me get my flippers. All right, so I've got my tongs. I'm going to take a look at these bad boys, see if they look golden. The one thing about these ceramic coated pans is they're so daggone slippery. It's really hard to get a hold of your food. Not quite ready to be flipped. Oh wait, this one is. That one's not. So I'm going to give this a couple more seconds here. Get these guys going. So as you might imagine, the other ingredients in this, if it's going to be mimicking a spinach artichoke dip, is that we've got artichokes and we've got spinach. But what I wanted to show you is that the artichokes I bought them frozen. It was so cool. I was able to get them and then I defrosted them. So I've defrosted a 9-ounce bag of frozen artichokes, which was super easy. I've got, this looks like a lot. Well, it is a lot. This is a huge container of baby spinach. Believe it or not, this is all going in there. You will definitely have your vegetable intake for the day. We're going to also be calling for 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemons. So I have already cut in half 2 smaller lemons because I figured that will do the trick. We're also going to need about a half a cup of pecorino romano and parmesan. So that's in here. We're ready to go with that. We also have some low salt chicken broth, some minced garlic. You know, I like to use the can. Sometimes I mince up my own, but I really don't want to. And then I've got some thyme with the TH, not with the TI. So, all right, I'm going to check these because I think these are ready to flip. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, they're so slippery. I'm going to have to learn something about this. I feel like they're going to slide right out of the pan. Maybe that's why I should be using the cast iron skillet. But I was just like, I really wanted a pan that was easier to clean up tonight. And so there we have it. Let me show you what these look like now that they're flipped over so you can see the golden color that I'm seeing. Yummy. Oh, and you're also seeing my dishwasher. Haven't unloaded it yet. Needed some stuff. So, all good. So, once I get these transferred to a plate, then I will start the rest of the meal. But so, while I'm waiting, this is a good time to have a sip. Ooh. Oh, Stephanie, you had chili tonight? This is a great chili night. I was thinking that I was going to do a chili, maybe a vegetable chili coming up. That would be really good. I'm also thinking about doing a night for meatloaf because I am a meatloaf lover. Not only do I love the meatloaf, but I love it in sandwiches later. So I think meatloaf is just like the gift that keeps on giving because you can have it that night and then you can have it for leftovers, however you want it afterwards. I've also been thinking about my favorite, like I absolutely adore meatballs. So like we'll definitely be doing meatballs. So now that we're getting into like a cooler season, we can get into some heartier desires for like, and if there's anything you want to see me cook, shoot me a message. I am open for suggestions. And because you know what? I get really bored. I don't like eating the same thing over and over again. So I'm always open to trying something new. So I think, I can't remember what I have planned for next week. It might be salmon, but it might be a chicken pot pie. I can't remember. Oh, you know what? Next week, this is it. Next week I'm not going to be on. So I will say that next week I am taking a break from Dinner with Debbie. I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be up in Boston visiting my brother. So I'm obviously not going to be able to be doing Dinner with Debbie. But I will be back the following week doing something else. And I know my brother's favorite meal is chicken marsala. So I am going to be planning that meal, a chicken marsala dish, in the beginning of November, right when it's my brother Jim's birthday. So I really thought that that would be something special. So, all right. So I think these chicken cutlets are about ready. So I'm going to go grab a plate to put them on. I know, don't you love like my low budget cooking show? Oh yeah, this looks awesome. I love this. These look really good. I'll show you. I just want to get them out before some of them burn. I'll tell you, they are so daggone slippery. It's crazy. All right, so there they are. I'm going to put these aside. I'm going to turn the heat down on this burner. Okay, so now we're going to do the sauce. Let me get ready here. So I don't think, I'm looking at what's left in the pan. I don't think I need to add any more oil to this. So I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. I'm going to put about a tablespoon in here. And this doesn't need very long at all. And my thyme, I'm going to use about a tablespoon of the thyme. And this is dried, so I don't need quite as much. Give that a quick stir. The garlic will burn and get bitter really quick, so you kind of have to be quick here. Now I'm going to stir in my broth. This is 1 1/4 cups of low salt chicken broth. And I like the low salt because I would prefer to season it myself. I can add however much salt that I would like. So, yeah, and I'm going to turn up the heat now that I added that. And then I'm going to be adding, this is the creaminess version. This is what's going to make it creamy. That is less fattening than your typical spinach artichoke dip. I'm using 4 ounces of room temperature, cream cheese. And you can use Neufchâtel, which is got about 1/3 less fat. But this will add the creaminess to the sauce, which is normally in a typical artichoke dip is going to be like a lot of mayonnaise and a lot of like sour cream and all of those things. So just having this bit of sour cream or cream cheese is going to be better for you than what your like typical dip is. So let me get rid of that plate. And so I can see this is starting to come up to the boil here, and I'm just going to stir this. I'm going to be stirring this and until, you know, really until like the cream cheese melts, which takes a little bit longer than you might think. So just keep stirring. And it makes a really nice sauce. And it's actually, can I tell you, it smells delicious. And what you start seeing is like the cream cheese starts breaking up into pieces and starts looking a little bit chunky, but all of that does break down and melt. Yeah, and I'm going to take my spoon and kind of flatten it out too. I know, oh yeah, Stephanie, like chili is definitely football food. And I have to tell you, I actually set aside time in my schedule to watch football on Sunday because I wanted to watch Washington play because, you know, it's been kind of exciting. And I had to stop watching. After a little while, after, like, I hung in there for a while, but I had to stop watching after a while. It was just, it was too painful. It was like, you know, I'm handing it to the Bills. They could do nothing wrong, and Washington could do nothing right. So, and then, you know, I always try to keep tabs on my old team, the Giants, which is, you know, has caused certain, I won't say arguments, but it's caused certain tensions in my household. that I've been a Giants fan for a part of my life, but so in any case, we are where we are. So as you can see right now, this is looking like a little bit like broken up, but I can assure you, just keep stirring it. Because the first time I made this, because I've tested this out, you know, I test everything out before I share it with you guys. Just keep stirring it. It's going to look like it breaks up. It's going to look like maybe it's not going to come together. But trust me, it does. So I have this on medium heat. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. And I really want this all to just keep stirring and the cheese will keep melting. You just got to give it some time. Sometimes you have to be patient in life, which is not my strong suit. But I do love how this smells. One of my favorite aromas is the smell of thyme cooking in like a wine or chicken sauce. It's very delicious. Very delicious smelling. So let's see where we are at now. So once I've got this going, we're going to add our artichokes. And I think I really want to let this go a little bit longer. All right, let me show you now. Yeah, so you can see this is starting to look creamier and a little bit less broken up. So I think we are ready for me to put the artichokes in. And once I discovered that there's frozen artichokes in the world, I think these are probably better for you than the ones that I had been using. I usually would go with the jarred marinated ones, but they're usually in oil and all of that, and I think that's probably more have more calories in it. So once I discovered these are awesome. So I'm going to let that come back to a boil. Get rid of this plate. And start bring some of my other ingredients closer to me. Because the next thing that's going in, believe it or not, I'm going to be putting this whole container of spinach in there. And this is the thing that always amazes me about spinach, is that I'm going to have like this huge container and then I'm going to put it in this hot sauce and then it's going to like wilt down to nothing, which to me is just like crazy. But I'm waiting for this to come back to a boil before I do that. So it's a good time for me to have a sip. Cheers. So yeah, this is coming back to a boil now. And I can also see that all of my cream cheese has melted. So this is really good. So now I'm going to take this is an 11-ounce container of baby spinach. I'm going to go ahead and I'm putting it all in. The recipe calls for 10 ounces. So this is 11 ounces. So it's like, you know, who cares? I'm just going to, what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that last ounce? I'm just going to put it all in. Oh God, I can't believe how dark it is out right now. It's kind of like that time of year where you start to have like those feelings like, oh, winter's coming. But don't despair. Fall is awesome. Do y'all know that next weekend is the Waterford Fair? One of my favorite events in Loudoun County. Love that. And you know what? Hey, Janet. Janet and I, last year, we volunteered at the beer tent. We were your beer serving gals on Friday afternoon. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it this year because I'm going to be out of town, but for part of it, and then I for part of the week, and then I need to really come back and, catch up on my work. So I'm not going to be volunteering at the Waterford Fair this year, which kind of bums me out because it's like one of my favorite things to do all year. But I'll be back next year. They are going to have a new beer sponsor this year. In the past years, Waterford Fair had been, the beer sponsor had been Parkway Brewery, which really enjoy those beers. I'm not, as you know, I'm not much of a beer girl these days. I'm more of a wine girl, but I did enjoy my Parkway. I think the beer sponsor this year is going to be Wheatland Springs. I have to double check that, but it will be a Loudoun County provider of the beer, which is something kind of cool. Parkway is a Virginia provider, but they're based down in Roanoke. Very good beer. You can get it at Wegmans and other different local grocery stores. All right, so I've been stirring this up, and you can see that my spinach is wilting. That's what I'm waiting for. And, oh wow, this is really good. It smells really good. So, what have we got up next? I'm really trying hard not to miss anything because it seemed like for the past few weeks there was like one thing that I was missing every time. And it was getting to be kind of annoying to me. I don't know about to you. But in any case, all right, we've got our spinach has wilted, our artichokes are in there. The sauce is slightly reduced. All right, so I'm going to stir in the artichokes and turn the chicken. All right, so now we can return the chicken to the pan. So I'm going to stick these bad boys in here, kind of place them around, and then I'll pour in whatever accumulated juices were on this plate. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Let me show you. Get rid of this plate. How pretty is that? I can't wait to eat that. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it's bubbling up pretty good. And basically, the chicken breasts are already cooked because they're thin sliced. So I'm just making sure that they're heated up again. All right, so about 3 minutes in, I think we're going to be good on these chickens. I'm not even going to flip them. I'm just kind of like tucking them into the spinach and everything else. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it from the heat, and then I'm going to be squeezing my lemon juice into them and stirring in my Parmesan. And then it's going to be ready. So this is a dish that can be served over pasta. I think that would be delicious. Maybe something, maybe like a bigger noodle, like maybe a pappardelle, or like a really good thick spaghetti or a fettuccine. I think, or a linguine pasta, I think would be excellent. I think I'm going to be doing rice because I think, you know, my family likes, or I can't say my family, but Mark likes rice better than pasta, and because we're coming up on his birthday, I'm kind of trying to give him everything he wants right now. So, in terms of food, so we're gonna do rice here, but I think pasta would be excellent. Or even, you know what, if you like crusty bread, you know, toast up some nice bread, dunk that into the sauce. It's really, really delicious. So. All right, I think this is good. So I'm going to turn the heat off. And I've got my handy dandy lemon juicer. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze my juice, squeeze the lemon juice in here. And let me tell you a little trick about getting the most juice out of these things. What I like to do is I take the whole fruit and I kind of roll them and press them down with my hand. And I think that releases some of the juices. So, so you can't really have lemony, creamy chicken without putting some lemon juice in there. And I'll tell you what, I think having the real lemons and not just like the reconstituted lemon juice, if that's all you got and you know you're in a pinch, go for it. But I really, really like having the real lemons, the real lemon juice. So we want about 3 tablespoons of this. This is probably a little bit more than 3 tablespoons because I did 2 small lemons, but it smells really lemony in here. Yay, like it. All right, let me stir this up a little bit, kind of jostle it around. And then what I'm going to do is put my Parmesan in. So the Hey, Chris. So the last step here is putting in that Parmesan cheese. And as you can see, this is a Pecorino Romano and Parmesan Reggiano. This is already grated. If you want to get real old school, you get the big pieces of cheese and you grate it yourself. But hey, I don't have time in my life for that. And this calls for about a half cup. But for me, I'm just going to put it all in because I'm just that kind of girl. All right, and then you can see that's what I put in, and I'm just going to stir this up because what I want to do is get this Parmesan to melt. And it will. I've turned the heat off. But I just want, but it's still really hot. So all this Parmesan will melt. And I wish that you guys could smell this because it smells really good. So, all right. So this is it. This is the dinner. I hope you really try it. And as you can see, all right, we're at 7:44. I think we started at a little after 7. And, you know, we started a little after 7 and we're at 7:44. So half an hour, really great meal. Martha Stewart Test Kitchen approved. Debbie Meighan approved. And I hope you guys give it a shot, give it a chance. And I will tell you that this will be on my YouTube channel. You can just check it out. Debbie Meighan Realtor. I have a whole playlist just for my dinner with Debbie's. And it will also be on all my social media platforms by tomorrow with the full recipe and our wine pairing for tonight. So, bon appetit.